How do politicians get things done? Now, that's not a joke. That's actually a question. Politicians need to get things done, and one of the ways that politicians get things done is through something called political capital. What it means, I don't know if you've heard the term, but you build up political capital by siding with someone, by helping someone else get a bill passed, by having a friend, by being part of a party, by having relationships, and every time you do some of those things, you gain a little bit of capital, a little bit of resources. And then comes the day when your bill comes along, when your piece of agenda needs to go forward, and you cash in that political capital to try to make something happen. And if you have enough political capital, you're probably going to spend it, but you can get something done. If you don't have enough political capital, well, it's hard to get things done. Well, most of us aren't politicians. We're followers of Christ. So what is our job? Well, our job is to get some things done too. But basically, our job is summarized by the greatest commandment. Jesus said the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, and mind and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. That's our job. You've got a mission statement here at the church. It's right on the back wall that is a summary of that job right there. It says Grace Church exists to introduce people to Jesus Christ and to help them grow in their relationship with Him, enabling them to be examples of Christ's love to everyone we meet. That's what we do as followers of Christ. We build relationships. Relationships with God and relationships with others. We're in the business not of political capital, but of relational capital. Of putting away resources into the relationships in our life with God and with others so that things can happen, so that good things can happen, so that the work of God can go forward. I first learned about relational capital before I was married. I was a young man, and I was encouraged by someone, I don't know who it was, they were pretty wise, to go around and ask some people who'd been married a long time what advice they would give me. And I did. I went around and I actually asked. I said, what could you tell me? I'm a young guy about to get married. You know, I want to do this right. You got one shot at this here, or you should anyway. And so that's what I was asking is how do I go about this? And different people gave me advice. And one fella, an older fella, I remember this very day. He said this. He said, son, he said, the secret to a good marriage is putting money in the bank. He said, every time you do an act of kindness, every time you open the door, every time you ask how her day is going, every time you come alongside of her, every back rub you give is a little bit of money in the bank. And along the way, you're going to put money in the bank. And that bank account's going to grow. And over time, it might get to be a pretty good size. But then he said, but then, son, you're going to do something stupid. And he said, when you do something stupid, he said, you're going to make a withdrawal from that account. And he said, you ought to make sure you got enough money in the bank that when you do something stupid, and he said, son, you will do something stupid. You got enough in the bank that withdrawal covers it. And he said, and by the way, it takes a lot more deposits than to cover a withdrawal. So make sure you're putting a lot in the bank. Well, that's what relational capital is. As we go through our life as followers of Christ, we are all about putting relational capital into the bank. Every relationship we have, whether it's a relationship with God or a relationship with a spouse or family or even in this church family here, we're building relationships by putting relational capital in the bank. And that's the goal of what this fella said. That's the goal of relational capital, that we can become people with relational money in the bank. That's what it's all about. Now, in the passage of Scripture that we read just a minute ago, there are three things that I think jumped out at me that are three keys or three principles behind this idea of relational capital. If you turn with me, if you have a scripture, if not, I'll read it to you from Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. Verse 9 says this, and I'm reading from the Revised Standard Version. I think the NIV was a little different. It says, let love be genuine. Hate what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. So the first word, the first principle here is genuine love. There's a lot of what passes for love out there, but the challenge from Scripture is that our love be genuine. Some other translations, I think the NIV says, let your love be sincere. Another one says, the Holman version says, let your love be without hypocrisy. Let your love be true. I like the word genuine. Let it be genuine. Let it have integrity. You know what integrity is? If something has integrity, it is in reality what it claims to be, right? And our love, if it's going to be genuine, needs to be in reality what it claims to be. Now, I don't need to tell you that the world is full of things that pass for love that aren't really love. It's a kind of a gimme love, a love that says, what's the word, with him? What's in it for me? You know, I will express love to you. I will be kind to you in the hopes that I get something in return, whether that's finances or whether that's resources or whether that's opportunity or whether that's physical affection. The world is full of people with insincere love, ungenuine love, love that is not truly what it's meant to be. The call here, though, is for a love that's genuine. There's a fellow by the name of Tim McGraw who sings a song. He's probably been around for about a year. I bet most of you have heard it. And in the middle of the song, he says this. He said that we need to know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone we love. I love you is no pickup line. Always be humble and kind. The idea is that we don't use love for our own purposes. We use love if it's genuine because we want to express the love. Where does that love come from? As followers of Christ, we see that love comes from the Spirit of God. It comes from Jesus Christ working within us. It comes from the fact that we love, as John says, because he first loved us. So the first challenge here is that our love be genuine. And we know what love looks like in 1 Corinthians 13. Love, in fact, let me just read this passage just real quickly here. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. Does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. Does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. That's a picture of genuine love. If we want to have relational capital in this world as we go through our life, we want our love to be genuine. The second one we want our love to be is found in verse chapter 10 here. Verse 10 of chapter 12, it says, love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. The New International Version says, be devoted to one another in love. So the second thing, love should be genuine, but love should be devoted. Now, devoted is a pretty high standard, isn't it? Devoted is not just a passing interest. Devoted is committing to someone whether things go well or whether things go poorly, in sickness or in health, in riches or in poverty. Devoted is the kind of love that hangs in there when the going gets tough. And the challenge from Scripture here is that we are devoted to one another. One passage of Scripture, the Holman Bible, says being preferring one another. It goes on to say, in fact, right here, it says, outdo one another in showing honor. We ought to all be in a competition with each other to see who can honor the other one the most. Wouldn't that be cool? Here we are in our relationship with our spouse, and we're trying to outdo each other in honor. I want to honor you more than you honor me. No, I want to honor you more than you honor me. Think of the relational capital that kind of arrangement would build. Or even us as a church, as we gather together, let's honor each other. Let's the one passage, translation says preferring one another, letting the other one go first. There's this word called altruism. Altruism means that it's a type of love that does not have a regard for oneself. It's a selfless kind of love. It's preferring or caring for one another, even though you get nothing out of the deal. And so the second type of love is to be devoted to one another. Tim McGraw says it again in his song. He says, hold the door, say please, say thank you. You know, it can be little things, it can be big things, but can we be devoted to one another in love? And then the third of the three types of love that is shown in this passage of Scripture here is a love that is generous. Verse 13. Contribute to the needs of the saints and expend hospitality to strangers. In other words, share what we've got. Be generous. Give of what we've got. We don't have what we've got in order to keep it. God does not bless us with good things in order to hoard them. God blesses us with good things to do His work. I don't know if you know that. If you've done good in business, you've done well in business because God has blessed you with that so that you can do good in love. If you've done well in relationship, if you've got a gift or a talent, we talk to the children about gifts and talents. If you're good at wrestling, you're good at wrestling so that God can use that for His purposes, to encourage someone, to teach someone, to be a part of someone's life, whatever. Even the guy you pinned to the mat, I think, and he was learning something maybe. I don't know. Anyway, being generous, spread it around, show hospitality, use the love that God gives us. Invest in the things that matter. There's a passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 that talks about building on the foundation of Jesus Christ. You're probably familiar with it. And Paul talks about you can build with gold and silver and precious jewels, or you can build with wood, hay, and straw, and then the fire is going to come and we'll see what lasts. The encouragement there is build on the stuff that lasts. What lasts? The possessions that we have don't last. Somebody one time said they never saw a U-Haul trailer being towed behind a hearse. You can't take it with us. What we have in this world doesn't last in terms of material possessions. What lasts is the love that we share, the souls that we invested in, the people, the children, the grandchildren, the friends, the family, the church community that we're a part of. That's the kind of stuff that goes on into eternity, particularly when people are impacted and touched by the love of Christ in such a way that they see Jesus through us. There's a fellow by the name of C.T. Studd, about 100 years ago, wrote a poem. He said, "Only one life, 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last." We need to live our life in such a way that we invest in others. And I'm going to do something, I have not typically done this, but I'm going to tap into a little pop culture now. And if you haven't heard this Tim McGraw song, every once in a while somebody writes a song that really gets it. Think about this song.